my partner is currently not here right now, so I have a lot of opportunities to film, and my sleep schedule has been all messed up, so I could have totally filmed videos at night. But I'm going to tell you one of the things that happened this month. I talked a little bit about my struggles in the other video, and the thing is, if I don't feel the energy that I want to feel in order to like film and put out content for you guys, I don't feel the energy to put out content, and like if I don't feel inspired, it's really hard for me. So this is something that I'm currently thinking about. This is a very current situation, so I'm gonna spill the tea. I hope you guys can relax. Also, if you're wondering, Michelle, why are you wearing glasses? I am sorry, the ring light that I'm using is like, you can see it in the glasses, so I'm really sorry if that's bothering, but I wanted to film this video regardless and not come up with any more excuses. Basically, if you don't know, I wear contact lenses, and one of my contact lenses broke randomly. I just took it out, and then it just randomly broke like the next morning. Like I put it in the little, like, if you have contact lenses, you know, you put it in the little box, and the next morning it was just broken. So I don't know how I'm gonna like sit or where I'm gonna position myself so that you don't see the ring light in my eyes, because it looks kind of creepy. So yeah, I'm sorry if it looks a little bit weird. If I take it off, I could technically talk to you like this, but then I don't see the camera, and that's a little bit weird for me, so I have my glasses on. Yeah, sorry if that's bothersome. I'm probably gonna have to film a few videos with the glasses on, because I'm gonna get a new contact lens, but I don't know when. It could be next week, it could be in a few days, it could be 2 weeks from now, who knows. In any case, those are the disclaimers. I would have wished for it not to be like that, because this video is gonna be so juicy. So if the ring light in my glasses looks like I have like laser eyes or something, if that bothers you, just don't look at the visual and just listen to the story, because it's gonna get yourself a cup of tea, get ready. I'm about to spill one of the most like major tea. Okay, so a while ago I had a Patreon. By the way, shout out to everybody who was subscribed to that. I don't know if I'll ever bring it back. Maybe. Currently I'm not planning on it, but who knows? Maybe a month from now, 2 months from now, who knows? So I had a Patreon, and on that Patreon I shared a series with my subscribers called Dating Gossip. Dating Gossip. And I was talking about basically chronologically from the very first boyfriend that I had, very first experience, what has happened. I never actually finished it. That's not what we're gonna do today, though. Today we're just gonna talk about one particular situation, because it has become relevant again. If you were subscribed to my Patreon and you're like, we've heard these stories before, no you haven't. This story that I'm about to share with you, I have not shared on my Patreon yet. I've not shared anywhere. Patreon, I think I left off in the year 2017, 18, and this story started in 2019, so much more recent. And it was something that happened while I was in the US. So a little bit of context for those of you who don't know me. I graduated from university, and then I went abroad as an au pair. I'm gonna make a whole video on that probably. So I graduated, and then I'm from Germany, and I went to the US. And so this is gonna be a long video. Take a cup of tea. So basically, I was ready for anything new. I had just gone through a breakup, which is that story I didn't share on my Patreon yet either. I had just gone through a breakup, and it was a very hard breakup, probably the hardest I was gonna meet someone special. By the way, a lot of this is probably gonna be very unconventional, and I want you to not be judgmental. If you're listening to this, I want you to keep an open mind. I don't want to see any weird comments. I'm gonna delete those comments immediately. I don't want like an opinion, like you can let me know what you thought of the story, but I don't want like a lecture or like any judgment from anyone about anything, okay? Just saying that up front. So this is my personal experience, and just keep an open mind. Anyway, so I was in the headspace of, okay, I want to meet, okay, coming from Europe, you have a specific idea of American boys, okay? You grow up with a lot of those high school like movies, and you have a specific sort of idea of like an American boy. And I was imagining having like a boyfriend that goes to college and wearing his like sweater and all of that. So I was actually really excited, and it was the first time that I felt good about something in that way since my breakup. So I arrived in Portland, and I'm gonna leave out my general experience because I want to make, like I said, a whole video on that, my au pair experience, my host family, etc. And yeah, so I arrived and I immediately started like downloading dating apps. I wanted to just experience life, you know, like obviously I wanted to just make friends and like have a good experience in general, but I also wanted to date and I wanted to meet locals. And I think one of the best ways to meet locals is through dating apps, unfortunately, because I was also kind of in this like bubble of au pair friends. If you don't know what an au pair is, Google it. No, just kidding. If you don't know what an au pair is like a live-in nanny, like a nanny that lives with you and takes care of your kids and is often from a different country, and is like basically the host family pays for like the food and the car, but you get paid, but you don't get paid that much, but it's kind of like the exchange, like you get a free place to stay and you work for them. Anyway, different video. I was ready to like meet someone, and like I said, before going to the US, I felt in my gut that I was gonna meet someone special. you know what? Let's go there. Let's take an Uber. Let's just spontaneously go to that club. It was already late. I don't know what time it was. It was probably already 10 or 11. And in the US, like here in Germany, that's usually when the nightlife starts. Like if you go to a nightclub before 11 in Germany, there's usually like nothing going on. But if you like go there at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that's when people start coming. So the clubs are usually open till like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Whereas in the US, at least where I was, the clubs, they don't, like they close after 2 a.m. I think 2 a.m. is like the latest. I don't know if that's changed after COVID, but this was in the fall of 2019 and September of 2019. I think it was like the end of September. So I left Germany on the 26th of August, and this was like the end of September. So I was like there for a month, around a month. And I love the story. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy I can share it with you. It's such an interesting, unique story. But anyway, so I think I'm gonna sit here and just like have the mic close to my mouth, so it's more like chatting with a friend. I am wondering if I should have taken the fluff mic off in order to have the audio be even more crisp. So if I should make more videos like this, let me know what you like better. So we went to the Uber and went to the club, and it was already late. I keep losing my train of thought. Stick to the story, Michelle. So we went to the club. It was, oh my gosh, guys, that was like before COVID, right? So it was full as, like it was so full. Like I could barely even walk. Like it was so full. I don't know how we managed to stay together because it was so full that you could literally not even walk through the club, which is a scenario that I would not like anymore. I was kind of a different person back then. But anyway, so we walk through the club, and I don't know what happened. It's strange thinking back on it because I genuinely don't remember exactly how it happened. It just happened all so fast. 1 minute I was in the crowd. The next minute I get pushed to this different area. So in a club you have like the private area, and you have like the regular area, I guess. And I think it was like a private area. I don't know. In any case, there was like a security guy, right? And he just looks at me, and I just get pushed past him, and I see this guy, and he's just standing there minding his own business, and he's holding a glass of alcohol. If you're wondering, no, I'm not talking about Shane. I met Shane later, months later. So this is about a different guy. I can tell you the story of Shane and me another time. But he's just standing there, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is the man of your dreams. I look at him, and I instantly feel drawn to him. If you're wondering, I am in a relationship currently, but I'm not, and this is where you need to be open with me and not judge me, okay? My relationship is not monogamous, so it wasn't always like that. Like, if you're wondering, like, oh, she has a boyfriend, like, why is she talking about another guy like this? First of all, this was in the past. Second of all, I'm giving you the tea, so don't complain. Third of all, me and my partner were non-monogamous. I don't know, we don't have a label. You can call it free love, you can call it open, you can call it polyamorous, whatever. It's not been like that forever, and I'm only now talking about it openly. We started out as a monogamous couple, and for most of the relationship we are and were a monogamous couple. every single detail of the night because it's a long time ago. It's been like 3.5 years, and I was tipsy, and I was also a completely different person back then. And I'm like, hi. Like, he was just standing there alone, and the fact that I got pushed into this room, and he was the first thing that I saw, and he caught my eye immediately, and I did not have to talk to him, but I did. I just felt drawn to him. I'm like, hi, I'm Michelle, what's your name? And he's like, I'm Jake. And we just like hit it off immediately. Like, we just liked each other. And my friends, so the 2 friends that were there with me too, and they also liked him. And so he was like, let's go to this and this area. I don't remember how it happened, and we're like, sure, let's do it. So we all went through the club together to this other area. And at first I thought he was my friend, and I asked her, like, are you into him? And she's like, no, like, it's all good, you can have him, because I told them immediately, like, he is so good looking, he is so handsome. And you have to also keep in mind, I don't know if you've ever lived abroad or have had this kind of like experience, but I was full of adrenaline at that point. I'm in a new country, I have new friends, and here I am in this club, and there's literally the man of my dreams, like physically, right, and energy-wise, standing right in front of me. Like, the adrenaline was like up here, but obviously I didn't know if he was gonna like me back. I looked a little bit different too. I was, out of shape. I wasn't like overweight or anything like that, and I'm not trying to like body shame myself here, but I definitely looked different. I had bangs, short hair, and I think I just had a normal weight, but I wasn't fit. Let's just say that, okay? I just wasn't a fit person, which is fine. I still looked good. I think I still looked good, obviously. But yeah, so we go to this private area, and my friends, they know that I'm into him, right? And they are the best. I feel bad that I'm not in touch with them anymore, honestly. I wish I could like reconnect with them somehow. And they are like, you know what, let's go to the bathroom, like, we need to go to the bathroom. By the way, I did not pay anything additional for this private area because I don't know, because I'm a woman. They just let me in, they didn't care. There was this other guy, and they kicked him out. Oh my gosh, I need to get to the point because the story is just getting started. This is gonna be like a 2-hour story or something like that. Anyway, I feel like my videos lately, although I haven't put out so much, they've been longer, so that's something good, right? So they go to the bathroom, and me and him are like dancing, and I don't remember the more safe because I didn't just want to go with some stranger alone. So Jake, and I hope I'm not gonna like say his real name by accident, but Jake and my friends and his friend, and was there like a third person? Maybe there was like another person. We all crammed. He had like a convertible. We all crammed into his convertible and we go to his place. And it wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done because he drank and drove. So don't take me as a role model here, the things I'm gonna say, because a lot of it was honestly stupid and irresponsible. But in my head at that time, I was just like having such a great time. I felt on top of the world. I felt infinitive. I was out of my comfort zone. I was fearless. I was fierce. I was brave. I don't know, I was crushing on the sky. Like I remember driving to his place. I was just like looking outside of the window and the fresh air in my face, and I just felt invisible. And you know, when you're young and you're doing something and it might not be the smartest thing in the world, but you just feel invisible, and that's how I felt. Okay, and like I said, don't do that. Please don't. You can have fun without being stupid, but I was being stupid and I learned from it. I never did something like that again after. But anyway, back to the point. So he would give me all these like compliments, and I think we even like held hands on the drive to his place, and it was so magical and romantic. And like obviously in the back of my mind I was like, what if this is just gonna be like a one night sort of thing? But I was just like in the moment. I was just enjoying the moment. And yeah, then we get to this place, and he was living in like an apartment complex, and the apartment complex had like a hot tub, and the hot tub was like for everybody there, but it wasn't open, so we climbed on like a, so it wasn't like we didn't break in or anything, but we went there in a time at night. It was like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning where it was closed, like, you know. So we went over like not a fence, it was more like a brick wall. We climbed it up. It was funny. It was so funny. Like honestly, one of the best nights of my life. Like one of the best nights of my life, despite not ever wanting to do that again. Just great, okay? Just one of those nights that you'll always remember. A lot had to do with me being in a new country, like I said. So we get to the hot tub, and me and him are just so flirty with each other, and he's like asking me like, are you glad that you came here? And he was being super sweet, and it was like nice though because everybody was getting along, and his friend kind of liked my friend. There was like a vibe, and like we were just all vibing with each other, and it was just like great. Like I was just like there, I'm this like girl from Germany, and I'm connecting with these people from South America and the US, and like I think his friend was like Mexican, and it was just great. Okay, I have to speed this up a little bit, but honestly, if this ramble is gonna be 1.5 hours, better for you. Good for you. Okay, so we're at his apartment, and eventually we go inside and we watch a movie together. Or like, I don't even know what we started watching. Like all of us, you know, the whole bunch. And I was ready to marry this guy at that point. Like I was so infatuated. I don't know if you could say in love because I literally just met him, but it was like I've been waiting for a guy like this. Like it felt like my whole life made sense when I met him. And I know that sounds extremely exaggerated, and you're gonna see that it's not gonna be the happy ever after fairy tale kind of a story that you would think. I mean, we don't know because there's some news on the story, but I just felt like, oh my gosh, I met my future husband. Shout out to all the girls out there who have a crush and immediately envision their whole future with them, because to all the boys was so sweet because we wanted to go to sleep, and he only had like 1 blanket, 2 blankets, and he gave all his blankets to our friends. So his friend and my friends were also sleeping over at his apartment, and so me and him slept under towels. I thought that was so cute, and we like cuddled and stuff. So then the next morning, he is still sleeping deeply, and we did not exchange numbers or anything like that. And his friend that was also there goes, "Let me drive you home." Like, he offered us a ride home, which I thought was so nice because I honestly had no idea how I was gonna get home. Like, I think Jake, the night before that, when I asked him, I think he offered to drive us home. But his friend, I'm having such a hard time not to say the names. His friend was like, "Jake has to go to work today, let him sleep," you know. And at that point I was like, okay, this guy, there's something going on with his life. Like, he does not seem like he has his life under control, because he had to work and it was already like 10 a.m. and yeah, he went out the night before that, and I don't know, I was just like, okay. And he was just sleeping like an angel. I was so infatuated, guys. Still am, I guess. Okay, and then I was like thinking the whole time, like, shit, like, I didn't give him my number. He doesn't have my number. In case, just in case, this was not a one-time thing, because I had a feeling about it. Let me tell you something, my intuition is, most of the time it's right. It's not always right. Or actually, no, it's always right. Like, my intuition is on point, okay? I'm in tune with myself. And especially at that point in my life where I was going out of my comfort zone, constantly pushing myself, I was so in tune with my comfort zone, with my intuition. So I knew there was something special between us. There was something. It wasn't just a hookup. It didn't feel like a hookup. It felt like, I don't know, it felt like a soulmate or something. also kind of wanted him to reach out to me. I mean, I made the first step in giving the friend my number. So in the evening, I was at this like au pair meeting, and he finally texts me, and he's like, "Michelle, it's Jake," and I'm like, "Hi." And then I guess the day before that, we talked about going to a rooftop bar, and he's like, "Do you still want to go to like a rooftop bar with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "We should go, and we should invite some people," because his friend was into my friend, so we tried to kind of like set it up as like a double date, which did not work. My friend didn't really like his friend, I guess, so it was just us, which was fine because I wanted to see him. So I guess a few days later, I don't know if it was like a week later, or if it was like a few days later, but anyway, soon after we met, we had our date, and this is where it's gonna start going downhill. Okay, so you have to understand that at that point in my life, I did consume alcohol relatively frequently, and what I mean by that is would go out on the weekends. Okay, this is something that a lot of people do. In my eyes, now from my perspective, it's way too much. But back then, it was like normal for me. You know, I would just like get a drink here and there. So it was not weird to me. Like, it was not weird to get drinks. I still don't think it's weird, but like I'm much more anti-substance than I was back then. But I think I still had a healthy relationship to it. I wouldn't get messed up every weekend. I would just maybe get a little tipsy, and I also didn't necessarily do that every single weekend, and especially on a date. Especially on a date. Why would I have to drink? Like, I'm trying to get to know you. But, guys, please don't judge him. I still like him, so. A lot of you are probably gonna think I'm stupid and I was being reckless and I was being naive, and maybe I was, but yeah. Anyway, I get to the spot that we agreed to hang out at, and we were like, let's get food and go to a bar. Okay, we're gonna go to a bar, we're gonna drink, fine. He gets there, he looks absolutely amazing, he looks absolutely stunning, he looks like the man of my dreams, like literally, like, I don't know, but like dark hair and I don't know, just absolutely amazing, like a movie star or something, in my eyes anyway. And we get into his car, and in the US, there's this law that you cannot carry around open containers. So here in Germany, at least before COVID, I don't know how it is now, you can just walk, unless you're in Bavaria, I guess. But if you're not in Bavaria, you can just walk around with just like a beer or like a bottle of wine, and no one's gonna say anything. But in the US, you have to put it in like a paper bag, or you have to put it in like an orange juice or something like that. So we get into his car, and he pulls out a full, or maybe half full, bottle of vodka, just like pure vodka. And that was the first time I was like, okay, this is gonna be an interesting, it's just gonna be interesting with him. Like, okay, I could have totally walked away at that point, and I could have recognized that this guy does not have his life under control, because who brings a pure bottle of vodka to a date? infatuated by me. Like, we were talking about traveling, and he was like, I want to travel with you. And like, I think we were both equally excited about each other. We were both like just happy to get to know each other, and I completely just ignored, like, I didn't do this the whole time, but I just ignored the fact that he brought a bottle of vodka because I was so infatuated. And yeah, the date was great. I don't remember exactly what we did by the end of it, if we went to his place or like if I stayed over or if he just drove me home. It was just great. Like, I remember I had a lot of fun, and we were very, I don't know, just like cute with each other. Anyway, a week or so goes by, and him and I are texting, and he's being very cute, and he's saying things like, yeah, my day was good, but like it would have been better if I saw you, like I didn't get to see you. And I just get this like vibe from him that he's just as drawn to me as I am to him. And the funny thing, and like, this is why the universe is just crazy, right? So, as I told you, I was on dating apps, and I think it was like after our second date, after our first date, sorry, after our second time we ever hung out, he texted me, do you want to see something that is just absolutely insane? And I'm like, yeah, sure, like, show it to me. And he sends me a screenshot of our conversation on a dating app a week before we met in real life. So, to make you understand the situation better, I didn't know that when I met him in person at the club that we had talked before on a dating app. It was only a couple of messages, but when I looked at the profile, I was like, what the heck? I actually remember matching him, but when I met him in person, I had no idea. Obviously, like, if you've been on dating apps before, you kind of just go through people like it's shitty, but that's what you do. You like, especially as a girl, you just like swipe, and you don't remember every single guy that you talk to, what they looked like, what their profile looked like, because there's just so many options that you just don't know. So I had no idea. So how crazy is it that we matched on a dating app, but we actually didn't end up texting that much? I think he didn't text me back or something, I don't know. And then the universe goes, you know what, if those two don't want to meet over this dating app, we're gonna have them run into each other. That's what I believe happened, that it was definitely like divine timing. Like, I definitely think that it was fate or something like that, you know, for better or for worse, I guess. Because this is definitely not a story of happily ever after, but it's also not a complete disaster. It's like there's still a question mark as in how this is gonna end, because it's not over yet, but I'm gonna get to that part. Anyway, so we text, so after that I was just like, wow, like, this is my soulmate, like, this is fated. I'm supposed to be in his life, like, he is supposed to be in my life. Obviously this could have been a big coincidence, but it just did not feel like one. It did not feel like one. Anyway, so after the date, we text, and he texts me such cute things, like I said, like, I had to see you, etc. And I think we FaceTimed a couple of times, and things are going great. And then all of a sudden, he ghosts me. So I don't know, I didn't say anything significant, but I was the last person to text. And especially when I'm talking to a guy, obviously I can text again, but especially back then, I was very proud, and I'm like, I'm not gonna text you if I don't get a text back. Either you're gonna text me or you're not gonna hear from me. I think I texted him something that he definitely could have replied to, but I don't remember the details. Unfortunately, I don't have those chats anymore. some friends, I don't know, like friends, like acquaintances. Like I met a lot of people in that time, and those were like au pair friends. And yeah, I met them, and I had a great time. And it was actually the first time that week that I didn't obsessively think about it. And you know, when they say when you take your energy away from something, it bounces back. So I completely just let go of it, and wouldn't you know it, at around midnight, I went to the bathroom and I look on my phone and I have a text from him saying that he's sorry that he didn't get back to me, but that he had like a crazy week and that like a lot happened, and that it would help him if he could talk to me about it. And it sounded very desperate, and I know that a lot of people are gonna think he's just playing me or whatever, but like the energy I got and the energy that I still get, it was just genuine. Like, hey, you're someone that I really like. I really feel like talking to you. So I was like, well, because I think he wanted to like call me, because he's like, if you're awake, it would really help me if we could talk. And I was like, well, I'm downtown, I'm in a club. And he's like, where are you? Can I get there? And I'm like, I'm in this club. And he's like, okay, I'm coming over if you want. So he literally gets there. And that night I also stayed at his place. And so what happened was he lost his job because there was like accusations that weren't true. But yeah, he lost his job. He got fired. I feel like everything I'm saying about him like doesn't bode well for him, but I don't know. I have this like energy about him that he just has like a great heart, and I'm gonna get into that too. But like we did regularly text, but he would sometimes just not text me for 2 days, and I think he wasn't a text kind of a person, but we basically like started this like connection. Did not feel like friends with benefits. It definitely felt like more than a friends with benefits situation, but I also at the same time did not feel security, and that was something that was very important to me. And I wanted a label because I was falling in love, and yeah, so that was my headspace. I just like wanted a label. We would do things like he would pick me up and he would pick my friends up, and he drove to the beach with us, which was like a couple hours away. And most of the time we were just hanging out in his apartment, but we would sometimes go out to eat, or like I said, he would pick my friends up and go to dinner. Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you about a few situations that happened and how I perceived it back then and how I perceive it now. And then I'm gonna get to the newest tea. Okay, and I obviously will keep you updated if anything significant happens. So basically, we were texting like almost every day, and to be honest, back then it didn't feel like a lot, but we were living apart. Like, even though we were in the same city, the US is so big that even if you're in the same city, it can be quite a bit. And we were living 40-50 minutes apart from each other because we both didn't live downtown, we lived outside of the city. So it was not like we could just go down 2 blocks and see each other. And we were both working full-time. I was working as an au pair. I would work like 9 hours a day, and he was working in his new job, so he got a new job after he was fired. So keeping all of that in mind, basically any free time that we had, we would spend together, but it just was not enough for Michelle back then, which is understandable. I think my main problem, like, obviously I wanted to have some sort of a label, but the reason why I wanted to have the label is because I just was not sure if he reciprocated the way that I was feeling about him. And I think that is what my biggest problem was. It's that I just could not get a read on him. And don't comment with like men are this or men are that. Yes, like I think that there's certain traits to men and certain traits just biology. But I think we're all just people, and we're individuals, and we all have our own story, and we all have our own problems and whatever. And so I'm not a fan of like saying like, oh, if a man does this, then that means that, because we don't actually know that. We're just like basing it off of like statistics and whatever. So don't come at me with that. Don't come at me with that. However, I was starting to get like frustrated, and I was just wondering like, why does he not open up to me? I mean, he did like compliment me, and he did make sure to tell me that he wanted to see me, and honestly, I was very proud back then. So every single time that we would hang out, he was the one reaching out to me. Maybe I asked him like one time or whatever, but most of the time he was the one asking me if I wanted to hang out. But yeah, I just couldn't read him, because on one hand he disappears for multiple days, but then on the other hand, so he had this apartment, and he had like a night job, so he would work from like 3 p.m. to 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. I had a day job, so I would sometimes on the weekends, on like a Friday or whatever, go there at 11, and he told me where the key was, and I would just spend hours and hours in his apartment by myself, sometimes with a friend. Like one time, me and my best friend from that time were hanging out in his apartment, and so he put a lot of trust in me, because this guy had so many secrets, so many secrets. There was a lot of cash in that apartment. I can't believe I'm like sharing this on the internet, but yeah, I think that was and still is my biggest problem, frustration, and it comes from my fear of losing control, which I did not know back then. But if you have a problem, it's most likely within yourself, like because the situation, the person triggers something within yourself. And for me, that was the loss of control, because I struggle with anxiety, and it's inherently because you're scared of losing control. And I just did not feel like I had control over the situation, and I'm pretty good at reading people. I can get a pretty good read on someone, and in this case, I just could not read him, and that drove me nuts, guys. It drove me nuts. Like, I definitely a lot of overthinking, a lot of overanalyzing, a lot of unnecessary thoughts. So yeah, and I remember this one time, I think my host family was like gone for like multiple days, and I just stayed at his place, and like our communication was so off, because I couldn't properly communicate to him, and he couldn't properly communicate to me. So I stayed there the whole 3 days, and I was like, is he gonna ask me to leave? Can I just like stay here? And I remember I eventually told him that I had to go back, but I think I asked him like, do you want me to leave? And he's like, you can go whenever you want, you can stay however long you want. Like, I could have literally moved in there. Yeah, it was a lot of back and forth, and like, okay, within myself, okay, if I completely just listened to my intuition, I knew that he cares very deeply about me, but that he's just not in a good place, because he wasn't. And I'm gonna get to that point. I don't know how much of his life I should actually share on the internet, because if he ever does see this, or if, I mean, I did change the name, but still, it's like his privacy, and I want to like not infringe on that too much, especially if it's about things that have nothing to do with me. But basically, because we were always hanging out at his place, I was like, okay, why don't we go and hang out at my place, my host family's place, with my friends? And at that point, I had a really good relationship with my host family, so I invited him, and he said yes. And I think he didn't really realize went up to him, and my friend slept in the guest room, and I went up to him and I was like, do you want to go to bed? Like, maybe we should go to bed. And then he dropped this emotional bomb on me, and that was the first time that he actually opened up to me. And he sat on the ground and he just like did not want to get up, and I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, he just felt weird being in a house with parents, which I can kind of understand that now. I'm a lot more empathetic towards people's situations. Back then, you have to understand, like, I was in my tunnel vision. All I could think about was my year abroad, my experiences. I just wanted to have a good time. I did not want to deal with any drama. I was honestly a little bit overwhelmed with his drama because, like I said, when he got fired, he reached out to me and he would always seek comfort, which I know that's not healthy. But I was just overwhelmed with this situation because I did really care about him, but at the same time it was just frustrating that he would never open up to me, because I know that you can romanticize the like bad boy and like, oh, it's so romantic, he's so emotionally unavailable, and like a part of me, and it's probably a part that I need to work on, still thinks that it was kind of cute, but in reality it's really not cute. Like, seeing someone go through substance abuse, mainly alcohol and weed in his position, like I don't think he was doing anything more than that, but still that's enough, you know, seeing someone go through that you care about, that you want the best for, that you want to have in your life, and having it affect your connection, because that is ultimately what ruined this connection, is the substance abuse, and I'm gonna get to that. But having that happening is just not romantic. It is not cute. It just sucks. It just straight up, flat out sucks. And I know I didn't have to keep up with it. I didn't have to put up with it. But I liked him. I don't know if I loved him, but I deeply, deeply cared about him. And I felt very connected to him. And I felt like okay, I know this is cliche and you're all gonna come for me, but I felt like he needed me. Like, I felt like I needed to be there. But it wasn't even in like a toxic way. Like, obviously I knew I couldn't like save him. Like, I didn't feel like I had to save him. I just felt like I needed to be there, if that makes sense. Like, there's a difference between feeling like you have to save someone and just feeling like you need to be there for them. And I think that was the feeling that I got. Like, I just felt like I needed to be there for him. In what way? I don't know, but I just felt like that. So he sits on the ground and it was funny because my friends were in the guest room, so we were sitting in the hallway and they were in the guest room, and they listened to the whole conversation. Like, obviously I would have too if I was in their position. Like, they eavesdropped. And he told me a lot of things about his childhood and how he has basically been alone his whole life, and like there was a lot of shitty things going on in his family. There was a lot of drug abuse. There was a lot of just if you grow up like that, it just leaves a trail. It leaves a mark. And I'm not a fan of excusing your behavior with your childhood, because I believe you can break out of patterns. I believe that you do not have to embody whatever happened to you in your childhood, but I think some people it takes longer, and he was like 23 at that point, I think. So yeah, he just like dropped this bomb on me, and he was like, yeah, he feels uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, you know what, let me get some blankets, I'll just sit on the ground with you. And then it was so cute. He was like, he looked at me and he said, I don't want you to think that I'm a freak. And it just like broke my heart, because it was genuine, you know, like he just did not want me to think that he's like weird. And I'm like, I don't think you're a freak. And then I asked him, like, do you he said yes. And then we went to bed and he kept telling me more secrets, and yeah, that was like, and then on the way back home, so I drove him home the next day. Sorry guys, I'm like feeling all these emotions again. It's I've been reflecting back on this connection a lot, and yeah, on the way home, I asked him, I'm like, why do you only open up to me when you drink? Because that was the first time. Like, he did tell me some things about his family before, and like addiction problems that he had, but I was like, why do you only open up to me when you drink alcohol? And he said it's not easy for him. And I told him, well, if you didn't want to come to my place, you could have just said so. We could have found a solution. And he was like, yeah, he didn't want to make a big deal about it, whatever. My friends actually really liked him because he spent time with my friends, which was important to me. Like, we did sometimes hang out with friends, and they actually after that kept asking me if he can come back and like if we want to hang out again. So a few weeks after that, I had a bad feeling. So I think I need to start wrapping this up, but there's like so much more information, and I feel like I need to tell you everything for you to get the whole picture. So a few weeks go by, and I think there was like a few days where I didn't hear from him again, and I was starting to get kind of worried, because even though he had done that before, I just had a bad feeling. I think on Friday or something we texted, and Saturday, Sunday I didn't hear from him, and then Monday he reached out to me, and he was being very cute and very, honestly, the vibe that I would sometimes get from him is like a puppy that just wants to be cuddled. And he was giving me these vibes of like, I need you, something happened, I need you. And I had a bad feeling, and yeah, I don't want to say exactly what happened because I don't want you to look it up on the internet, but he had a very bad accident in which he didn't really hurt people, but he could have hurt people. I don't want to go into the details because I don't know if, I just don't want to expose anyone. But he had a very bad accident because he drove drunk. And guys, I felt divinely protected because I had driven with him when he was intoxicated multiple times. And that night, I think it was like a Friday night or Saturday night, and I was actually mad at him because he didn't ask me if I wanted to come. And guys, I was protected. Like, God, the universe, something protected me, because I did not, like, I would have totally gone with him that night, and I didn't, and thank God I didn't, because I could have literally died. Like, his friend was in the car and nothing happened, no one died. I think some people had minor injuries. The fact that something could have happened, and the fact that he could have hurt people, that he could have hurt himself, I was way too overwhelmed at that point. Just imagine you care about someone so much, but they're so self-destructive. I want to say, though, he was never in any way mean to me. He was never bad to me. He was always extremely nice. He was always extremely considerate. He never even got mad at me, even though there was a couple times where I was very mad at him, and I would express that, and he never got mad at me, not one time. So he definitely was toxic, but he was not toxic to me. He was toxic to himself. There's so many situations I can think of, but anyway, I still have a lot of emotion in this. This is not something that I'm over. So I mean, I thought I was, but talking to my friend who met him, and my friend kind of not convinced me, but made me think, okay, maybe I should be there for him as a friend. Yeah, because my friend told me, like, do you really want to drop him? Like, shit hits the fence and you just want to run. I mean, I completely get both sides, you know, like, I think that it's important to protect your own energy, and it wasn't even draining. I wouldn't say it was draining, but it was just overwhelming. So I mean, I did eventually cut it off. I'll get to that point. I did end, to be continued, but so I was there for him, and when I got to his place, he was so distraught. I've never seen someone so miserable. Like, he definitely regretted the way that he was acting, and it was a wake-up call for him, because after that he actually stopped drinking. But yeah, he just was not doing well, and I could see it, and I talked to him about it, and yeah, now I'm gonna get to the end of things a little bit. This is such a long story. I feel like I should make a part 2. Maybe I'll just, even if this is 3 hours, maybe I'll just upload it anyway. So basically, after that, I really wanted to know, what are we? So I kind of asked him, which, looking back on it now, that was so immature of me to do, because I don't really believe in labels anymore. Labels don't matter. They just give you security, but they don't really matter, because it just matters about the connection, you know? But I didn't see it that way at the time. And I asked him, like, what are we? And he's like he's not seeing any other girls, but he can't really give me more because he needs to focus on himself and gets his shit together, which, looking back, that was definitely the right decision. I mean, the guy had some stuff that he had to work on, for sure, but I wanted to know where I was at, and had he opened up to me and at least told me, I feel about you this way, or I feel about you that way, then maybe I would have been okay. But he didn't do that. He just said, like, he can't really give me more than he is. And I mean, we were both working full time, we were an hour apart, and he was messed up, and he was drunk all the time, and he was high all the time, and so it's understandable. But Michelle from back then didn't understand it, and it just didn't align with the standard that I set for myself, which is fair. So I told him that I wanted to end things, but of course it took me a little while to actually go through with it. And he was saying, like, he wanted me to be part of his life, and he also kept talking about going to Germany with me, and that he really wants to be a part of my life still. And everything that he said, I listened to other people, because other people would tell me, he's just an F-boy, or he's just this, he's just that, he doesn't really care, whatever. But I knew that that wasn't true, and I knew that he meant everything that he said, that he just has a hard time following through with it because of his substance abuse issues. And, like, for example, this one time I actually had an accident. It was a minor accident. We wanted to hang out, and he fell asleep, and then I hung out with a friend in downtown, and I bumped a car. It was, like, not a big deal, but I went back home, and he was like, oh, sorry, like, I fell asleep, can I pick you up, can I do anything? And I just texted him, I had a car crash, and I don't want to talk to you. And I was being so dramatic, because honestly, that was not a bad car crash. It was a minor car crash. No one was injured. I was fine, and I just wanted him to feel bad for before falling asleep, so I was acting like a major immature person back then. I would not act like that today. And there was just a few times where he would like confess his feelings to me. He would tell me, not confess, but he would tell me sweet things, and I would shut him down because it just wasn't enough for me at the time. And he was saying like he wants to act like he wants to keep me in his life. And he also, when we had that conversation about like labels, he said things are always changing, you know. He just doesn't, he told me that he was focused on relationships his whole life, and he just needs to put the focus to himself right now, and that is completely understandable. And he also, because I wanted to kind of test him to see if he was just in for, you know, hooking up, which I don't think he was, because we didn't actually hook up every time that we saw each other. Like sometimes we wouldn't hook up for like days, weeks, you know, so we'd still hang out though. So I definitely think that he genuinely liked me and still likes me. The energy in this room is so thick. I don't know if you can tell, this story is just kind of heavy, and I haven't opened up about it till now. But yeah, I just didn't really see, like, he was looking for flights to Germany and everything, and like I completely disregarded him in that way. And it's kind of weird because the last few weeks that we were in touch, he was actually kind of cute and sweet, and he would always, like, for example, Thanksgiving, I was in North Dakota and he was in his home state, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll see you after Thanksgiving, and he was like, oh damn, that's like a week, like I don't get to see you for a week. Or when he came back from his home state, he texted me immediately that night, like, can I see you? I did go to Canada on that day, so I didn't, but on his birthday, that was the last time I saw him. That was like around a year ago, it was in January. He texted me. We spent his birthday together, and like one of his friends called him, and he deleted the call, and he was like, I want to spend time with you, you know. So it was just so genuine. But eventually I was fed up. I don't really understand, because when I started to get fed up, that's actually when things started to improve. Like, I'm probably like forgetting a lot of details here. I feel like I'm actually talking to a friend right now. I hope you have the same feeling. I should have made myself a drink. When I started to be fed up with the situation, that's when he improved. Like, I don't remember actually, I went through old chat conversations that I had with my friends, because I've been reflecting back on this connection a lot the last week. And in one of the conversations, I'm like, oh, he quit smoking, he quit drinking, he was starting to get better, he was starting to open up more, and still I didn't want to pursue this connection. And he was even down to be friends, because I told him at one point, okay, if we're not going to be in a relationship, I don't really want to casually hook up anymore, then we're just going to be friends. And he was okay with that, you know, he was okay with that, so he definitely wanted me in his life. I still, to this day, don't completely understand or get what he was thinking about. Wow, the energy in here is like crazy right now. So thick. I have to definitely like open my window after this. Like, to this day, I still don't know what he was thinking. But after he reached out to me recently, so I'm gonna get to that in a second, I definitely think that I was wrong disregarding everything that he of January, mid-January, 3 years ago. Exactly 3 years ago. And I wrote him a long text where I told him, I'm done with this. I don't like the back and forth. I don't like that you sometimes vanish for days and you don't text me. I don't like that we're not in a label. And so I basically told him I'm gonna start seeing other guys, because and at that point I did not see any other guys because of him. Not because I mean, I did want to be loyal, obviously, but mainly because my thoughts were just all about him. So, yeah, and then he sent me back the sweetest message, and he was like, I don't really want to think about you hanging with other guys. And he was like, hit me up whenever you can, and like, I miss you. And that was the first time that he said I miss you without me saying it first. I mean, he said it a few times, but like, it was so genuine, and I don't know what happened in my brain, and I think it was fated, because that is actually when I met Shane, my current partner. But I was just like, that's it for me, bye. So then I met Shane, and things with Shane and me, like, I think emotionally I already was kind of distant from him because of everything that happened. The accident, the back and forth, not even back and forth, like, he was never really back and forth with me. Like, he was, honestly, looking back on it, he was always very straight up with me. He always told me that he liked me, that he wanted me in his life, that he had special feelings for me, but he just did not know how to express it. And I was talking to a friend about it that also, like, has had problems with substance in the past, and he told me, like, yeah, if you abuse substance, you just cannot function normally anymore, you know, so you cannot express yourself. But I was just, like, this was a 6-month process or something, and I was like, you know what, I'm here to have fun. I'm in my year abroad. I mean, I did have fun with him, but, you know, I think I was just overwhelmed, honestly. I was just overwhelmed. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna start dating again, and I'm gonna meet all of the guys that are here. I didn't even think about, like, entering a relationship. I really truly just wanted to move on, and I thought that was a good way for me to move on. So that's what I did, and I met Shane, my current partner, which is like the best thing that ever happened to me. He's my family, he's my best friend, he's my everything, and we share everything together. And things with us moved very quickly. And after 3-4 weeks, we were already official, which, you know, we're still together, so time doesn't matter. Time literally does not exist. The concept of time, like, if you can know someone for one day and you can know that they're your soulmate, you know. So we were in a monogamous relationship, and Shane's a very chill guy, but I didn't know that about him at the time, and I wanted to stay respectful. So Jake actually reached out to me again a few months after I texted him with the Montana thing. I think he texted me in, was it March? Or was it, I don't know, it was in the beginning of quarantine. It must have been March. And I shut him down immediately. From his perspective, right? We're chilling. We have this good connection. We have this special something. And 1 second we're hanging out, and the next I have a boyfriend. And to me at the time, it made sense. But to him, it was just kind of like, I mean, I don't know, because we never actually talked about it. But to him, it was just kind of like, okay, away from that connection because it just wasn't, it wasn't good for me, you know, it wasn't good for me, it truly wasn't. But I just completely suppressed a lot of the good feelings and a lot of the things that we did together, and things moved so quickly. We all know 2020, Shane and I started dating, and then the pandemic hit, and I moved out of my host family's house, and I quit my job, and it was so much that happened that I never really took a moment to like reflect back on the connection that I had with Jake. For example, like on his birthday, I remember we were in the store and we were buying like unhealthy stuff. He would always eat a lot of unhealthy food. And there was this woman, and she wasn't able to pay for her groceries. I think she was on social services or something, I don't know. And he goes up to her and he like literally gives the cashier his card, and he's like, our energies were very different. I'm a lot more grounded now, but back then I was like hyperactive. I was like this was like my energy. I was like always like craving the next high and craving the next, very extroverted, which I still am, but I'm a lot more grounded. And he was just very slow moving, which maybe it's because he smoked weed, I don't know. But I think in general our energies were very yin and yang kind of thing. And so no one really noticed him going up to the cashier and paying for this woman's groceries. And so this woman thinks it was these two other men, and she she was like, oh, thank you for doing that. And these other men just literally take credit for what Jake just did. And those are all things that I forgot, like that he just has a big heart, like honestly probably one of the biggest hearts that I've known. Like when we slept over at his place and he gave all his blankets away and slept under a towel, like just like the biggest freaking heart. The fact that he would always pick me up and go to the beach with my friends, and like I don't know, he just big heart. So anyways, I completely made up my mind about him, shut him out of my life. I think there was a brief period in 2021 where we texted, but it was very brief and I don't really remember what we talked about. And then at the end of 2021 he had a girlfriend. I know that because I saw it on Instagram. So I still would sometimes have dreams about him, but I just never took those dreams seriously, and I never took time to like reflect back on it. I basically, in my mind, I was just like, that was toxic, he's an idiot, whatever. Which partly it really was toxic and he really was being an idiot, but that was not all that the connection was about. And while I don't think that you should ignore the negatives, I also don't think you should ignore the positives. I'm not saying that I did the wrong thing. I think I did the right thing by moving away from it. But I think that I could have first of all been a little bit more gentle, because I really wasn't. And I mean, I was sweet most of the time, but you know. And second of all, I could have been just like a friend to him, because I only cared about the label and I just wanted to know that because even in the beginning of January, I told my friend, I'm like, maybe he just needs a friend right now. So why wasn't I there? You know, why did I just drop him? Like, I feel bad about it. I hope you don't judge me for it, but I was a lot more immature, and I had all these people telling me all their opinions, but I'm like, why the hell did I just flat out drop him? Like, okay, distance myself, fine. You know, maybe even stopping the hookups and stopping the romantic involvement, fine, which obviously would have been hard because there's feelings and stuff, but okay, you know. But completely dropping him out of nowhere, that was, I mean, not out of nowhere, but like without any further trying to like be his friend or whatever. I don't know why I did that. I don't know. I think it was the right move. It was meant to be. I think that he had to get his life together, and I had a new relationship. I met the love of my life, and I was just in a different place. And also the same year I went back to Germany, so there was like a lot going on. I think, is that a plane? The heck is that? I think it's a plane. Okay, fast forward to this year. So this month has been absolutely insane. I told you about like the thing that happened to me with the smoke in my last very long ramble, and I told you about my anxiety and about the loss that I had in 2021. So I was thinking, okay, that's the worst of it. I'm just gonna deal with my anxiety. I'm gonna just I don't know, just do my thing now. And then I was talking with my friend on the phone, and I've been staying up later, and I've not really been in a consistent routine, but I'm kind of following my intuition a little bit, and like not trying to be super rigid or mean to myself, and just following the natural rhythm of what my body and my mind are telling me to do right now. And basically I was talking to my friend, and suddenly I get a message on social media, one of my many platforms. You're not going to find where, because I have a lot of platforms that are like private or that are like old accounts or whatever. So I get a message, and it's from Jake. Can you imagine my face when I get a message from this guy 3 years later? Like I said, we briefly texted in 2021, but it was like not long, and I don't even remember what we talked about. But also, me and Shane were I think we were like starting to open up the relationship, but we were mainly still monogamous, and I think he probably picked up on that and like didn't want to be disrespectful, which is fair. So he reached out to me, saying that he's gonna go to Germany this summer, and if I want to meet up, and if I have any suggestions. And the way that he was communicating was so much more open, so much more mature. Like I could tell from the start that he changed. And yeah, I was open about it. I was like, okay, this is what life is throwing at me. I'm gonna just take it and see where it goes. So we talked a little bit, and he kept bringing up the way that we met and everything, and I was just like, so then I, like, because of the way that he talked, and then he asked me if I wanted to FaceTime. Like, he was very forward, very like, which I wasn't used to from him. But he's been sober for 3 years. So obviously, it was obvious to me because of all the pictures removed and stuff that him and his girlfriend broke up. So at first, obviously, I thought, okay, maybe I'm some sort of like distraction. But the breakup has been like a while now, and I don't get that feeling from him that I'm like a distraction. I still don't quite know his intentions, mainly because I'm an overthinker, overanalyze everything, and this is probably gonna be the longest ramble video that I've ever put out. Longest video I've ever put on the internet. I don't know if I'm gonna regret this. I don't know if I'm oversharing, but it's almost midnight, so I need to wrap this up soon and go to bed at a decent hour. I am gonna go for a run tomorrow with a friend, but obviously you've been waiting this long for me to tell you the current tea, because all of this was in the past. he asked me to FaceTime, I didn't actually think we were gonna FaceTime because I just have no faith in him. I don't know. But it was actually very nice. He's been sober for 3 years and we've just reconnected. And like I said, I'm not in a monogamous relationship, but even just on a friendship level, we reconnected. And after that phone call and after we talked, I reflected a lot. I just had this feeling like, go back, Michelle, go back and look at the situation for what it actually was. Now that I don't have that same perspective on things that I did back then, I'm not in that same situation, I can look at it with a different point of view. Yeah, and all this time I just told myself, like, he doesn't care, he doesn't care, he doesn't care. And honestly, I don't know to what extent he actually cared. I still don't know. I'm gonna have that talk with him, so I will update you probably in a regular whisper ramble. I don't think I'm gonna make a whole other video on this, but I mean, unless something like really significant happens. But I just realized I judged him extremely harshly, and I decided I'm gonna give him a chance to go back into my life. So now we're talking, and actually just a couple of nights ago he opened up to me finally about like the way that he felt for me, and he was telling me that he's always felt a certain way about me, like a special way about me. And I was like, yeah, like we had something special. And what are his true intentions? I don't know. The tarot cards tell me they are positive, they are pure, but I am not gonna let other people's opinion, like obviously if my friend sees like a red flag, they can point it out to me, but I'm not gonna make the same mistake twice. If I notice some fishy stuff, I'm gonna cut him off. If I notice that what he's been telling me, because I don't really want to tell you guys everything that he's saying because I want to keep some stuff private, and because it's very new, I don't want to. If I'm noticing him being strange in any way, or disingenuous, or I feel like he's playing me, or he's just using me, or whatever, I'm gonna not do that. I'm like, this is the last chance. But also I feel like we owe it to the connection too, because he opened up to me a lot lately, and I asked him like, why did it take you 3 years to open up to me? And it was actually kind of emotional for me. I didn't think it was gonna be, because I thought I was over it. I honestly didn't think about it that much anymore. I just moved on with my life. He apparently did think about me a few times, and at least he told me. How could you forget? Just kidding. I must have left quite the impression if what he's saying is true. But I did not. First of all, I didn't expect to ever see his face again in real life or on FaceTime. I was actually very shocked. And yeah, he's saying he's gonna come to Germany with a friend to like travel around, and he wants to hang out. And he seems to really want to make it work that we can hang out. And we've even talked about me going to the US to see him. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm polyamorous, basically. Like, I've been transparent with him about Shane, and I've been transparent with Shane about him, so I'm not lying, I'm not doing anything behind anyone's back, I'm not cheating, none of that, okay? Shane and I aren't really even, like, Shane and I are in a connection, in a partnership, but we don't even call it boyfriend and girlfriend. We're just family. You know, we're loving. So I don't know where this is gonna go. He told me basically, how do I give you the gist? He basically told me that he wants to be in a connection with me and he wants to pursue things with me again. And he basically said that he hopes that the connection didn't end, but that it was just like paused. And he's told me like he could like fly me out and stuff. And yeah, I really hope he's never gonna see that video. If he does, I mean, he doesn't know about my channel, and like, you know, I don't think I will tell him. Maybe like in the future, but not right now. But yeah, guys, that is it. We've been reconnecting, and it's been strange just how life works, because I feel like if you have a friendship, if you have a connection, and you feel like there's never actually like an end, then that means that that person is gonna come back to you, because it's happened to me with multiple people. And so whenever this happens to me, this is not the first time. Like, this is a very unique scenario, honestly, but like, this is not really the first time that this happened. Either they become a consistent part of my life, or I get the closure that I needed to finally stop wondering what if. So if there's still a what if in your head, then that's not over. So get ready, because 3 years from now, someone, like, if you have an ex or anything like that, even if it's a friend, they might come back into your life. Maybe, I don't know what the universe is trying to tell me with this. Like, I genuinely don't know. I don't know if it's me acknowledging because honestly, this whole time I've been putting it on him, all the fault, and it was him. Like, I asked him, like, why the hell did it take you this long to say that you feel a special way about me? Why? And he was like, well, because he was always so messed up on substance. He didn't express himself properly, and now that he's sober, he can express himself better. And he didn't reach out sooner because I had a boyfriend, and he felt like I probably don't want to talk, which is fair, because Shane and I, like I said, we were monogamous for most of the time. And also, if you see someone having a partner, you don't assume that they're polyamorous. And if you're like an ex, even if you come in with a good intention, especially since I shut him down before you reach out to me and I'm like, I have a boyfriend, I don't want to talk to you, I can see why he has that intention. So I'm not saying we're gonna be like, he's gonna be my second boyfriend, or we're gonna hit it off, or we're gonna be friends, we're gonna be this. I don't know. This time around, I don't know, and I don't care. I just want to see what happens. And if that means that I'm gonna stop talking to him in a month, or if that means that 5 years from now he's still a part of my life, we will see. I need to learn to trust life, to go with the flow and just see what happens. And I'm not gonna put the pressure of labels or conventions on him again, because that's my mistake. So I don't know, is the universe trying to teach me how to be more open and not judge people right off the bat, and also trust people? Because honestly, I have a hard time trusting the situation, to be honest, because even though I had all these realizations about the past and what kind of a big heart he has, and that he did actually really care about me, like, he did a lot of things to show me that he cared about me, and I just like flat out didn't believe from the past, like the thing with my, the person that I lost that I kept thinking about, and now Jake. Yeah, I'm in a very interesting place of my life right now, and like that's just like a time where the past comes back to you, and I've been reflecting so much on the past, and I haven't really done that in a while. I usually am very like, people always live in the future and the past. I'm usually very future oriented, and I know you should just be present, but sometimes I'll get nostalgic, but I haven't really lately. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy because we talked through some things that were just important to talk about. I'm also still struggling with my health anxiety, and yeah, I'll keep you updated, but I don't really want to talk about it right now. But yeah, so before I go on any flights or make any major life decisions like that, I definitely want to get my health and my anxiety and like my mental struggles under control first. Yeah, there's some other updates in my life, but I'll tell you in a different video. But anyway, yeah, so me and him have reconnected, and now that we've reconnected, I'm thinking, okay, I think it was actually special, because I also remember I got a tarot reading from a tarot reader, and she was like, this is a special connection, but the timing isn't right, because they can't reach, like Jake in that case, they cannot reach that full potential with you because their past and their problems are weighing them down, and that is exactly what happened. And so yeah, but maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he's just like using me or whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna definitely be on my guard. I'm not gonna just like blindly think like, oh, everything he's saying is true. Like, there could be ulterior motives, although I do think that he knows that if he messes this up, that's his last chance. I don't think he would just say something that he doesn't mean, but we're gonna see. Time will always reveal all the secrets. Like, time will tell what the heck is going on. So far, I'm happy. I'm also a little confused and a little bit nostalgic and a little bit like, wow, life is crazy. But I'm doing good. Yeah, and just trusting life, trusting my intuition, because even if this ends badly, or even if whatever, I'm gonna learn something from it that is gonna help me progress. And maybe it won't be bad, maybe it will be something really beautiful. It doesn't always have to be worst case. Like, that is my problem. I think about the worst case scenario way too often. So that's it, guys. That is my dating gossip. It wasn't really, it was very juicy, but at the same time kind of deep. And although I do think, like I said, men and women, like men are this, women are this, whatever, there are biological differences that we cannot deny. I also think we are spiritual beings. We have souls. We connect with each other. And to me, this is just like a soul that I connected with, and our souls. There's something about this that is just deep. With Shane, I have a very, very spiritual connection with Shane. I find it interesting that I met two people in the same city that I have like a very, very deep connection with, whereas here where I live, I didn't really experience that. So interesting, right? But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. I will keep you updated in my just like regular whisper ramble. What's gonna happen? Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe we're just gonna stop talking now. I don't know. I'm kinda hungry. I'm gonna have a little midnight snack, and then I'm gonna go to bed. So I hope that you'll sleep well. I hope I can make a proper thumbnail. Like I said, any judgmental, weird comments I will delete, because I'm getting real with you guys, and I'm getting vulnerable with you guys, and I'm not gonna tolerate any mean comments, okay? Because this is our channel of relaxation, positivity, happiness, deep talk. Okay, guys, I really have to get going before my phone storage explodes. know if you want more videos like this. I have a lot of stories. It's just because this one is like kind of coming back into my life, so I